So I'm Jade Peterson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Master Distiller here at Kentucky Artisan Distillery. Really, it was kind of just accidental. I had moved to Kentucky from Illinois and chased kind of a job just to leave Illinois. Didn't really fall in love with that, and ended up starting my own business. And when I did that, during the winters, I was slow, and I picked up part-time work at UPS and here on the bottling line. So I would come in on icy days, cold days, anything to get out of the weather, and just started picking up shifts. And as people fall off, they quit, got fired, moved on, and they were like, does anybody want to learn how to be a distiller? I just kind of raised my hand out of the blue. And I always joke, I don't have the right last name, wasn't born in the right state for it, but just kind of fell in love with it. And as the opportunity arose, Steve Thompson took me under his wing, kind of started getting me some exposure and really pointed me in the right direction to just kind of learn on a fast track. A bulk of our business has always been tied to the Jefferson's brand. It's been great working with Trey Zoller. And early on, I got to experience the Jefferson's Ocean, and I was able to go out on one of the shark tagging missions. So we went out of Hilton Head. We were able to go out on the vessel. They were out there, catching great whites, tagging great whites, and being able to really experience not just what the bottle says or the gimmicky side of it. People don't really know that that's an actual thing. Like, there are these barrels that are out on these boats all over the ocean, and to be able to go out there, climb on them. We were actually out there with Liquor Barn. We did the first selected at sea barrel picks. So we were able to actually drill into these barrels while we were out on the ocean, sample them, and do their barrel picks while we were out on the boat. So that was pretty cool. I don't like the empty gestures or the names that are just bestowing upon people that have never done the work. I don't like that. I didn't really want the title of Master Distiller when it was given to me. Didn't really feel like I had earned it at the time. And I relate it all back to ops management again. And it's okay, it's a process. Are you good at your process? Can you replicate your process? Are you consistent? And as I became more versed in the industry, I realized that that's kind of the part where there's more pride for me, is making sure that the facility grew at the same rate that I was, and the other employees that were asking for help that I didn't necessarily felt like I had, I was able to give to them. So I think the most rewarding part is definitely that, seeing people now look up to me and that I'm able to give them back what I got from Steve and Jim and people like that. So even though I don't really view myself as old or young, there's definitely people on both sides of that equation where, I've got stuff to give, but yet still a sponge and want to learn more. Each year, I feel like I have new goals. So I have, our production goals here, our growth goals here. But for me personally, I do private consulting. I've got a brand that I put down barrels for every year. And in the future, I'd really like to have a small craft brand that's true to being distiller based and not necessarily full-fledged on the marketing side. It's not a gimmick. It's really just getting back to the roots of what is bourbon, what is whiskey, why do we do it, why do people like me do it, why do we enjoy sitting here talking about it. It's really just get it back to that craft side. And I view what we do as a craft. If you're going to go out and be a master electrician, a plumber, carpenter, roofer, you get really good at your craft, and that's what people crave. And I feel like if I put enough time and effort, development into it, then I can get that product to that point too. And I always kind of joke, my Instagram handle, all my business stuff is called Just a Distiller. And early on, when I'd get introduced to people, there would be groups of people where they'd introduce a brand owner or the distillery owner or a marketing person, and they'd be like, and that's Jade, he's just a distiller. I kind of took offense to it early on, but now I would love nothing more than everyone to remember me for just that, just being a distiller. I think that age was actually a bigger part of it than I thought it would be. Kind of jumped into my role around 30 years old, which again is not young, it's not old, but you get a lot of gained respect as you gray out in the industry, and a lot of people look to the older generation that's kind of turning 70, 80 years old right now, and that's been the ones that have run the game for the last 40 years. So as young up and comers come in, if you're not grayed out, if you don't have that same nostalgic look to you, sometimes you're not taken at the same level of maturity that some of the others were. So that was kind of something that was found early on. And also until you have 10 years experience and you've worked with 20 different brands and you've released your own thing, you don't really have the cred in the industry that always matches up with what your title is. So for me, one of the big things in cornerstones that I set my goals at was putting 10 years in at one facility, no matter what. As hard as it was sometimes to stay, as easy as it would have been sometimes to leave. This is my 10th year here for Kentucky Artisan Distillery. So that was a big point of pride to be able to hit that marker and also grow that entire time. I've done a lot of trial and error, in being in the industry and having to train my palate and be able to recognize different things. I spent a lot of time buying whiskeys, different price points, different proof points. For me, I'm not a high proof chaser, so I like something that's going to be in the 90s. Prefer non-chill filtered over chill filtered. Again, blind taste test, most people probably can't tell the difference, but I feel like it changes the mouthfeel. I like wheated bourbons. A little bit heavier to me. I'm not the purist. I'm not the industry poster boy. I'm a big fan of, everyone loves what they love, and flavor is subjective. We wouldn't be allowed to have all these different brands and all the different companies if people weren't allowed to have different palates and different profiles that they love. But that being said, I really do like, less oak, a little more sweetness. I like a little breadiness to my whiskey. And I think we kind of find that sweet spot in a lot of the bourbon market, where we kind of fall in that middle, and a lot of the other styles kind of bookend the bourbon profile in my mind. Sometimes I'm just neat. Sometimes I like a cube, just mix it around a little bit. But I'm also one of the guys that gets razzed for drinking a whiskey Coke now and then. So I don't apologize for it. If I'm in the mood for it, that's what I want. By all means, I'm going to go for that side. And, Trey jokes, we need good whiskey and cheap beer, and I kind of ride that train too. I don't mind a good pour of whiskey and a Busch Light. That's just summertime. Don't stop. It's easy to get discouraged. We've got employees here that have applied at 4, 5, 6 different places, been turned down. Timing's not right, drive's too long. Take the drive, take the pay cut, get into the industry, make some noise, and just don't stop. It's real easy to get discouraged. It's real easy for your brand to have a down season, a down year. Cases are down, production's down, markets change. We just came through COVID. We came through a lot of different struggles, and just don't stop. Show up to work, put in the work, and it'll reward you.